some years ago when she was about 18, she was still at art school, she came in with 2 pictures to be framed, and Brian, who was the framer, used to shout upstairs, "It's for me," if it was a framing job, to save me going down. So he shouted, "It's for me," and I didn't go down. Well, the next morning when I went down, there were these 2 fabulous pictures framed. I said, "God, who are they by?" He said, "Oh, some girl came in yesterday to have them framed," and he couldn't even remember her name, you see, and I said, "Oh, well, I'm going to be hanging around waiting for when she comes to collect them. I want to see her." And then that morning a couple came in, they said, "Oh, I like those. Are they for sale?" I said, "No, I'm afraid they're not. They're owned by the artist." And they said, "Well, we'll give her £250 for them if she wants to sell them." So I said, "Oh, I'll tell her." So I took the phone number. Then in the afternoon another couple came in and they said, "Oh, I like those. How much are they?" I said, "They're not for sale." I said, "In fact, somebody offered 250 for this morning." And they said, "Well, we'll offer 500 for the pair." And I said, "Okay, I'll take your address, your phone number." So I did. And then the following morning, and I think I'm right, when this bloke came in, he said, "I love those. Are they for sale?" I said, "Well, somebody offered 500 just there." He said, "Well, I'll offer 650 or 600, I can't remember exactly now." So I said, "Oh, I'll tell her." Well, that afternoon, Olivia came in, and she said, "Oh, yes, sell them," she said, "because I need the money. I'm only a student." So I sold them to this chap. And I said to her, "Listen, Olivia, when you complete your training, come and see me and I'll take you on as one of the gallery artists." "Oh, great," she said, "but," I said, "on one condition, that you stay with me for 3 years and don't sell anywhere else." "Yeah, that's fine," she said. And that's what happened. She came back when she'd completed her training and then began to sell her work. And over the next 3 years, I sold a heck of a lot of it. And she was getting more and more known. I said, "I'll get you known in Cheshire and Manchester." And she was gradually getting more and more known. Well then, Collect Art. Martin Heaps phoned me up and he said, "Dave," he said, "would you mind if I know Olivia's your artist, but would you mind if I after a one-man show?" I said, "Oh no," I said, she's stuck with me for 3 years, very loyally, and I said, and it's about time she spread her wings in the Cheshire money belt. So he put on a one-man show and she's had 3, I think, since then, and they've all been sellouts, very, very successful. She still lets me have pictures, so I haven't had any for a while because she's recently had a baby, and so she's not painting like she used to. And that was my thing with Olivia Pilling. I can't say it's a magic. I always call it it's magic. Like with those Lucy Manfredi's we got downstairs, there's a magic about them which hits me. Whereas other people, lots of artists bring work in of mine. I don't want to hurt their feelings, you say, and like sometimes they'll come in and they say, "I'm a naive painter," and I look at the work and I think, "You're not naive, you're incompetent." So, but I always say, "Well, they're very interesting." And then they go home and they say, "Oh, the art shop said he can't take me because he's got too many artists at the moment, but he told me his work was very interesting." So they feel boosted, their ego is boosted by saying that, whereas if I said, "Well, no, it's not really the kind of thing I want," then it hurts their feelings and they feel let down, you know. So that's my modus operandi. Well, I think one that sticks in my mind was about 30 years ago, and things weren't too hot then, or maybe 35 years ago. It was at the beginning anyway, and every Christmas I used to cut out coloured illustrations from Sotheby's catalogues, and then Brian would frame them with a mount, and we'd sell them for a tenner in the window for Christmas presents, you see, because they were always chose nice pictures, you know, Victorian stuff. And one year we cut out a Turner, William Lord Mallow Turner, the great Turner. And Brian used to stick it on a piece of card, then he'd frame it with a mount round it, and that was it. It was in the window with several other pieces, just to make a bit of extra for Christmas. And I remember this posh couple came over, she had a fur coat on the woman, and awfully posh, and she said, oh, she had that little painting in the window, she said, and it was one of Turner's Swiss alpine things. Beautiful little image it was. And she said, how much? I said, it's £10. And I said, it's by the great William Mallard Lord Turner. And she said, oh, it's lovely. She said, I love the colours in it, etc., etc. And her husband came with me to the other side of the shop to sign a cheque for £10. And as he was about to sign it, his wife said, it is an original, isn't it? And I said, if it was an original, it'd be 150,000. I said, of course it is an original, it's a Turner. Oh, she said, we don't want it then. Don't pay for it, she said, because we only want originals. And I said, well, if you ever come across a shop that sells Turner originals for £10, I said, let me know. Off she went. Oh yes, and then another chap came in once, and we just had 6, I just got 6 Don McKinleys. 3 of his wife walking downstairs naked, and 3 of his wife walking upstairs naked. Absolutely stunning they were. And they were hanging on the wall, and this chap came in, a tall, skinny bloke, and he said, oh, I love those, they're wonderful. And I could see he wasn't lusting, he was meaning artistically, they were beautifully painted. And because he said, just look how that breast is done, 3 brush strokes, and it's there. He said, it's just magic. He said, how they do it, wonderful. He said, but I'd never get that past the missus, wouldn't you? Oh, God, no, he said. Never in a million years. And we chatted for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then the doorbell went. And he said, oh, it's the missus. And in she comes, about 28 stone, with great big carrier bags full of stuff. And he said, what do you think of these, love? I think they're bloody disgusting, come on, we're going. And as he left, he raised his eyebrows to me, as much to say, what chance have I got? David Coulter I like very much, and Sue Atkinson, I like her work, and Reg Gardner, of course, is a very fine painter. And Peter Stanaway, of course, he's very much collected now, a very great painter. And Ian Norris, of course, though I don't sell his work anymore, but he was a great artist. And Adam Ralston, he's another fine painter, yes. There's lots of fine contemporary painters, lots of them. But I mean, Lucy Manfredi, you wouldn't get excited about those pictures. Beautifully painted, wonderful handling of paint. It's what I call, she's got what I call a God-given talent. You can't learn to paint that in the same way as Don McKinley, Gordon Radford. They've got God-given talents. When I saw some of the magic that each one painted, you know, the things of Gordon's, that he did these pub interiors of old men playing chess, and he did a very funny one of a barmaid, and there's a man standing by the bar, and she's shouting at him, saying, get home to your wife. He's obviously been making a pass at her. He's a middle-aged bloke with a moustache, you know, and it's called Get Home to Your Wife, and things like that, and they're so beautifully painted, and it had some wonderful country house interiors that Gordon did as well. Absolutely mind-blowingly good. Yeah. Well, I think whatever your work is like, you must persevere. Don't give up, because I've had people come in and they say they were artists, but they've given up because it was a waste of time, they didn't get anywhere. Because real artists, can't not paint. So Don McKinley, who died at 88, was painting up to a few weeks before his death. He never stopped, and he was still going to night school for life drawing. He went to life drawing class, same with Gordon Radford. Each one said to me, you can never know enough about drawing. If you can't paint if you can't draw. And you've got to know how to draw, and drawing is always important. And Gordon would go to night school regular, Gordon was 78 when he passed away, and Don was 88, but they stuck to it like glue. They never gave up. And that's what young artists must bear in mind. You won't get fame overnight. Artists like Gordon Radford never really got the recognition his skill deserved, but at least he made a bit of money towards the end when I was selling his work, you know. In fact, he named his first car after me. He said, "That's Dave," on the car park at the back. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You bought me that car." I said, "No, I didn't. Your paintings bought you that car." But that's how he saw it.
Yes.
Well, it's also very true of artists who venture into abstraction, which is a very, very minefield, because it's very difficult to assess the quality of an abstract painting. I find it very difficult, I should say. Now, I don't say everybody does, but I do. And if I see an abstract painting where it's totally abstract, I can't find a hook onto which to hang my hat. I just can't. I can't take. And artists do come here and they say, "Oh, I'm an abstract painter," as if it's sort of a badge of office, you know. And it's all right to end up in abstraction if you've started up as brilliant painters. And then the abstract work is then going to mean something. But to suddenly say, "I think I'll be an artist, and I'll be an abstract artist," you don't know what you're doing. Well, first of all, there are a lot more artists than there used to be, because, of course, the way society is done today, it's possible for people with minimal income to become artists, whereas sort of 50 years ago, it wasn't possible for most people because they were too poor, or they're working long hours. And the change that I've noticed is, like, for example, in this area, there are so many people painting views of Manchester, hundreds of them, all painting views of Manchester, Deansgate, and so on and so forth. And, you know, some of them are very good at it, and some aren't so good. But I think people can get tired of the same old thing, you know. It's like the sub-Lowry, you know, people painting in the manner of Lowry. And there are so many now doing it. But it's a different age and a different thing now. It just doesn't have the same impact as when Lowry was painting in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, you know, when nobody ever painted northern scenes because nobody ever wanted them, and fever vans and rag and bone men with balloons and things like that. It's not in their experience, but they're doing it now, and yet, you know, they're only 30 years of age and they've no experience of that, which means they're cribbing from the past, and that's stupid to me. Well, as a collector, when I was teaching, I was collecting all the time, and I lived in, and I taught in St Asaph, which is a small principality in North Wales, and the bank where I banked, most of the children at the school where I taught went home for lunch, and they would come to school and say, "Mr. Jones wants to see you, Mr. Gunning." And I knew what that meant. The bank manager wanted to see me. So I'd go down there after school, and he used to say, "You've been buying more pictures, haven't you?" And I say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Jones." He said, "Well, you realise your bank overdraft has now reached £60. Well, I was only earning £40 a month in those days. And so it was, and I said, "Oh, I'll really try harder now." And then I'd try hard for a while. Then he called me another time, and I remember he said, "You know, your overdraft is now 200. He said, "If you carry on like this, David, I'm going to not honour your cheques." Oh, I said, "I'm so sorry, Miss Jones, I'll really make an effort." And then I try then not to buy pictures, which was hard work for me. And I can remember now pictures I didn't buy, which I had, that I wished I hadn't done at the time. I can still remember I remember seeing a wonderful watercolour of Venice in Birkenhead in a shop, and it was about £18 or something. I thought, no, you can't afford it, you're not buying it. And I didn't buy it. But I can still see that picture if I saw it last week in my head, you know, and it was a beautiful watercolor Venice. Yeah, well, with pictures that we've had in the gallery, there have been some wonderful ones. But I've been more excited by the customer enjoying them than I was about the desire to possess them myself. You know, when people say, oh God, and people come to me now and they say, oh, I just love that picture. And then I've got customers now. There was one the other day, and he said, I just love Stanaway. He said, you know, we've got 11 now, and we just sit and look at them. We just never get tired of them. And it's nice to hear that, you know. Well, this is some work of Sue Atkinson, an artist who's been with me for many, many years. This one is called More Rain, and this one is called Christmas Fair. She's a lovely painter, and has exhibited widely at the Royal Marine Society, the Royal Watercolour Society, the Royal Academy. She's an extensive repertoire of exhibiting. For me, these are quite expensive at £9.75,
yes.
But they are 20 by 20 inches each, so you know they're a good buy.
Yeah.
And this is the work of another of my artists, Mike Whedon. This is the Glass Blows of Lipster, and this is a farming one. And Mike has various types of subject that he likes to operate with. There's a couple over there, and there's 2 or 3 there. So, and he's doing very well. Well, I just thought it was different from what most people are doing, and that's the secret of finding an artist, not somebody that's like everybody else. You see, it was sort of a good style. You see, I'm one of the few dealers that only charges 1/3 commission. Most dealers are 40 or 50% commission. I also frame all the pictures, so the artist hasn't got to worry about bringing paintings here and have them ready framed. You know, a few galleries do frame, but I do. I've always framed an artist's pictures. First of all, I like to choose the frame to make the picture look at its best. Right, well, this is the work of Anthony Marn, one of my more recent artists, who has become extremely popular. This is a picture of me in the gallery doorway, and he's now becoming a very popular artist. His work sells extremely well, and he's an ex-policeman who's retired and now devotes himself full-time to painting. Right, well, this is the work of Richard Clare, an artist who's been with me for some years now, and Richard paints mainly in Italy, France, and in his native Saturday. So he has a great variety of subject matter. So that's it. See, that's the south of France there, and that looks sunny and hot, and that Saddleworth looks gloomy.